So incremental models. So these kind of incremental models. So as we discussed yesterday, this will be sequential models will be suitable for the small size projects. So whereas in the incremental models, these models are suitable for them big size projects. So why big size projects? In these models, all the big size models are divided into parts in some parts, and that parts will be carried out in all the SDLC process. So they will do one part and they will do the second part, they will do the third part. For every part, they will follow a SDLC process. Once the first part is done, they will go for the second part. Likewise, as it is a very big project, it can't be done, the whole project can't be done at the same time. So let's discuss about the prototype model here first. So prototype model. This prototype model means, so here they will prepare a prototype. So for example, if any customer doesn't have clarity on the requirements, so if some kind of company gives their application to develop to some kind of corporate company, IT industry, but they don't have a specific clarity on the requirements, so they don't know how the specific requirement should be. At that time, they will tell the requirements what they know. So after they saying the requirement, the people will create a prototype. Prototype model means it's a dummy application. So they will prepare one dummy application. So, and once the dummy application is totally done, it will provide it to the customer, and customer will verify that dummy application. So he was expecting the same application or not. If there was any changes, they will do the changes for the dummy application. So likewise, they will finish the dummy application first. So that dummy application, we call it as a prototype. So once the dummy application is totally done and it was finally approved by the customer, so customer says like, okay, all the requirements are covered, I'm fine with this kind of application. So after he was approved that prototype, so by seeing that prototype, the people will start developing the process. So this model will call as a prototype model. So I will explain in a format. Is the same like whatever you see in the previous models only, but here first of all, the client requirement, and the prototype. So this is the client requirement. So when the client is not client has no clarity about the requirements, he know the half of the requirement, he don't know the half of the requirement. And when that is happening, he will tell the requirement what he knows, and he will tell the concept what he knows. So depending upon that, they will create a prototype. So this is the prototype in sense dummy application. Prototype in sense dummy. So they will create the dummy application. So by seeing this dummy application, they will show this dummy application to the client. If anything is required again, so they will add that module or that functionality to the application, and later that they will again go to the client. So they will check with the client, is this fine or not? So if he says it's not fine, he wants to add something, they will add in the dummy application. And if he says it's fine, then they will go for the actual process. So this dummy application is called as a prototype. And after this prototype is totally done, so here they will go for the process. In this process, everything will be included, like BRS, SRS, BRS documents and SRS documents. So they will create after the dummy application part is done, and they will plan with that. Along with that BRS documents, they will design, code, testing, release, and maintenance. Release and maintenance. So all this process will go after the dummy application is done. So you got this now? You're there?
Yes.
Yeah. So this will be done due to the lack of requirement with the customer or with the client. So if there is no specific clarity, no clarity in the requirement, they will go for the prototype model. Okay. So I will mention some of the advantages. So if the client customer using the requirement, then prototype. So if the customer is confusing with the requirements, so this is the advantage of this model. So if they don't have any clarity on the requirement also, they can go with this model, and once the prototype is done, depending upon the prototype, he can modify the requirements. Okay. And that is also fun. He can modify in the sense they can change the requirements very easily. Requirements. So changing of the requirements is also possible, because customer has to approve that the requirements are fine or he was fine with the prototype or not. So, and some of the disadvantages are this can't be suitable for the small size projects. So why it can't be suitable for the not suitable? Size projects. So why it's not suitable for the small size projects in the sense? So they are creating a prototype here. So if they are creating a prototype for the small size projects also, it will be a time taking process. And also it is not economical for the small size product. If the project itself is very small, there is no need of creating a prototype or something. So it will be an extra thing for a small size project to create a prototype. It will be a more, they have to need more budget for that than what it is expected for the small size projects. So it will not be suitable for the small size projects. So, and it's a time taking for that. Because the time they used to do for creating a prototype, in this time they can do the 50 to 70% of the projects, as it's a very small one. So they can do for the small. So it is only created for them, only possible for the big size projects, only easy for the big size projects. So that is a prototype model. Okay. So if you have any doubts, please interrupt me in the middle. So no issue with that. So
Okay.
okay. And when it's come to the spiral model, so whenever the client requirements are very dynamic, so dynamic in the sense it was always changing, frequently changing. And also the project is very big. So when the requirement is frequently changing, they have to change the documents. The development team has to work on that again and again. So it will be an hectic process. So in this process, in this spiral model, there will be an iterative thing. So by that iterative thing, whatever the requirements they are changing will be changed accordingly. So if the requirements change it, there will be a no issue. So it will be changed accordingly. So here, so yeah, in VRS or SRS, and here the planning comes, here design, here coding, here testing. Release and maintenance. So likewise, so whenever in the spiral model, they will do like this. Not exactly spiral, I'm using just circles here. So it should be like a spiral here. Okay, so also I can take the pencil. So it's like a spiral here. So how this happens is, so whenever they are doing a requirement gathering, they will do the requirement gathering, they will create, they will plan, design, code, and release. So after the release, they will again do the requirement gathering for the next module or for the improvements what they have said. So if the customer changed the requirements, that requirements will be added in this one. So they will do the BRS document, again they do the plan, again they do the coding, again do the testing, again they do the release. So in this manner, so once that the module is done, so they will do in a flow. So for example, there was a one big projects, they will divide their projects into some kind of modules. So for every module they will take in one sprint. So like here they will take one module and they will gather the requirements for that module, and they will create the documents, they will do all the things, and they will release that module to the customer. Once it was released, they will go for the second module, and they will do the same things for all the second model, and they will go for the third model, they will do for the third model. For example, if any requirement has been changed by the customer, that requirements will be added in the requirements again. So for that also they will go with the same process. Whatever the modifications done in the BRS, they will do that modifications. Whatever the modifications done in the plan and design and coding, so they will do all the modifications and they will release to the customer. So likewise, it's like a never ending process until that big size project is completed. So this we call it as a spiral model. So advantages are, it will be useful for the long term projects or a big size projects. And also the major advantage is we can add the requirements whenever we want. I mean in the middle of the projects. And also the customer release is also 100%. Why the customer release is 100%? So for every sprint there will be a release. So we will release that to the customer and we will say to the customer, this is the build from that module. So customer can see that module, and if he wants to do many modifications, that modifications will be added for the next sprint here. So likewise, customer will get the 100% results on their modules. So I'll type this suitable for long term or big size projects. Requirements can change or add middle of course. So that requirements can be added in the next level. So this is a spiral model, and one more thing is we can give 100% to the customer. Deliverables will be 100% to customer. As we are sharing the build, as we are sharing the implemented process for every module and like a chunks to the customer, so it will be in 100%. So whatever the customer also wants to change, he can change it as soon as possible. Using that, there will be a no time taking or no lag in the modifying the customer. So it will be done in the next sprint. So it is not so small size projects. And one of the main disadvantage for this, it's very expensive. Very expensive. Any doubts in this spiral model? One has to keep mute. Please keep in the mute. So, and the next one is agile model. Agile model I will tell you in the last. So we will have a separate session also in the future. So coming to the RAD model. So RAD model we call it as a rapid application development. It will be done for very huge projects and it's very expensive. So I will tell you why. So here uh, in the RAD model, we will divide that very big projects into small kind of modules like module 1, module 2 and module 3, module 4 likewise. So that every module will be implemented parallelly using different teams. Once all the teams have completed all the modules, we will try to integrate all the modules and we will give them build or we will do the complete deliverables to the customer. So like for example, there was a big projects. So it's a project A. It's a very big project. So this project A is divided into small parts. So like this is a module 1. This is module 3. This is module 2. So here all the projects A is divided into some kind of model. So it was divided into 5 parts. So all these parts have module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, module 5. These all parts will have a separate team. So like, so this is a process here. So in this process, we will have requirement gathering, and design, coding, and testing. So likewise, so in this module 1, we will have all the things. So for the module 1, we have a specific team. Likewise, so for the module 2, we have a specific team. Module 3, we have a specific team. These all process. So this all process, 1 minute. So 1 minute. So, okay. So where are we? So this is, so for every module, there will be a requirement gathering, there will be a plan, design, coding, and testing. So all 5 modules have 5 teams. So one team will go for the requirement gathering, planning, design, coding, and testing for module 1. And the second team will take care about the module 2. And the third team will take care about the module 3. And fourth team will take care about module 4. And fifth team will be take care about module 5. All the 5 teams will work parallelly to complete that module. Once that module is completed by their teams, once all the 5 teams completed their 5 modules, they will integrate all these 5 modules into one and they will create this project A. So you understood how this happens? So this RAD module is very expensive. Why expensive? In the sense they are using more manpower. So like they are using 5 teams at a time. And the advantage is very big projects or big projects can be completed in short time. Short time in the sense they will take time, but comparing to these big projects, so comparing to the time taken for this project, it will be very easy to complete that in short time, because we are using 5 teams parallelly, so it is 5 times lesser than the actual time it will take. So that is the very a big advantage for this one. And also it will be only suitable for a large size one. And one more disadvantage is it needs more resources. So like we are using a 5 teammates here, so for the design there will be a designer for a team 1 for the module 1, team 2 for module 2, team 3. So we are using 5 design people here for all the teams for and to complete all the modules. So it will be very expensive and it needs more resources. So this is a RAD model. RAD means rapid application development. Okay, so whenever they needs to complete a big projects in a very short time, when they are not taking care of any budget things, then they can go for this RAD model. So coming to the agile model. So agile model is a very important model, and we will have a separate session also for this one. I will just give a brief on this one. So agile model. So agile model is also an iterative model. So iterative model is like a spiral thing, but we will go with we will do the chunks for all the projects. So in this agile model, so first of all, there will be a separate terminologies for this agile model. Most of the projects are now using an agile model, and also in the interview purpose, it is very important to know about everything about the agile model. Okay, so in the agile process, we will have some kind of iterative model like what we seen in our spiral thing. So there will be some kind of iterative also. And in the agile model, where there is a big projects, like there is a big projects and the requirements also not clear. So in this manner, so they will do the requirement gathering for the modules they are clear. So after they did the requirement gathering for the models, then on they will do the BRS and they will do the planning process, and they will do a day-to-day basis task. So for example, there was a project A. So for the project A, they know the whole concept of the project A, but the requirement gathering is not yet completely done. So they will do the requirement gathering for the specific part. So they will do the requirement gathering for a specific part. So gathering, and next, once the requirement gathering is done, so they will plan to start the coding process. So they will start the designing. They will start the design process, and next they will go for the coding, and next they will go for the testing, and next they go for the release. So release. So here, so as every project is going on, they also go with the same thing. But the main thing is in this agile model, every task or every activity will be carried out with the client interaction. So why the client is coming here is, so better understanding on the requirement and whatever we are implementing to approve that in a very easy way. So in this model, all the activities will be done before the client. So it will be happen with the client interaction, and also with that client interaction in every activities, we can ensure 100% customer satisfaction. So whatever the client is expecting, we can ensure that kind of product here, because in every activity there will be a client. He is there to fulfill the requirement thing, whatever he needs. And also, this project is like a day-to-day waterfall model. So every day there will be a new thing. Every day there will be a new thing. Every day their developers will work on that, and every day testers will work on that. And by the end of the day, if that is completed, they will push it to the production environment. So, and in this one projects, or in this one the tasks are also implemented module wise. So once a single module is done, they will go for the second module. And once the second module is done, they will go for the third module. So they will go for the module and module wise. And also every team member will have an interaction with the client. So developer team members, as well as the developer manager, testing team member, all the people will have a interaction with the client. So what happen here is there will be some kind of terminologies. So in the agile model, first of all, there will be a sprint meeting, sprint planning. In this sprint planning, sprint means it's a process of work which can be done for 2 to 4 weeks. So in that 2 to 4 weeks, what things needs to be done, that will be implemented there, and that things are called as a sprint planning. So for example, a projects can have a 2 weeks of sprint, 3 weeks of sprint, or a 4 weeks of sprint. So in this sprint planning, for example, this is a 2 week sprint planning. So they will decide in this 2 weeks of time what we have to do. So they will plan everything in the sprint planning. For example, what are the modules they needs to take, what are the tasks then they needs to take in the 2 weeks of span, what the development team should work on, what the testing team should be worked on. So depending upon that, so the tasks and the tasks for the testing team, tasks for the development team will be completed. And at the end of the sprint time, so once the 2 weeks are done, there will be a product with all the 2 weeks of tasks done. So here, once the sprint planning is done, they will share all the tasks to the development team who for each person. Developer A has 3 to 4 tasks in these 2 weeks. Developer B has 3 to 4 tasks in these 2 weeks. Tester 1 has all these 5 to 4 tasks, 4 to 5 tasks in this all 2 weeks of sprint. Likewise, every team member will share his task and will share what he was doing and will show the plan of all the next 2 weeks, all the tasks of that next 2 weeks. So once they're done, every day they will have a sprint meeting, scrum meeting. So we can call it as a wake up time, wake up call. Okay, in this wake up call, the wake up call will be in the morning, so like 9:30 a.m. So in this 9:30 a.m., all the team members will join, all the development team people, all the testing team people will join, and they will discuss about what needs to be what they are going to do in that day. So for example, developer 1 will say like, I'm going to do on this task, and developer 2 will say, I'm going to do on this task. Tester will say, I'm going to test this task. By evening it will be done. It will take a 2 or 1 hour day. I will start this task today, I will complete this task today. So you will say about what you are going to do on that day. And scrum meeting also happened on the end of the day, like 5 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. Likewise, whenever the everything is done in that evening scrum meeting, you will say like what you have done throughout the day. So for example, you have done something, you have completed this task, I have completed this task, I have shared this task. So these tasks can be done in this meeting, in this evening meeting. So once this is done, there will be sprint retrospective. So in this sprint retrospective, so we will discuss all the team members. There will be a client in this one. There will be a delivery manager, delivery team members, testing team members, testing manager. Everyone will be added here. They will discuss about what went good and what not went good. So in this overall sprint of 2 weeks, in these 2 weeks, what went good? I mean, what is fine to have and what is not fine to have? Which anything is there to implement that needs to be happen in the next sprints. If you have any challenges or any issues that needs to be fixed for the next sprint. So we will discuss that in the sprint retrospective meeting. Okay, this is an agile model. So agile model, it's a very heavy model, and we will have a separate total session for this one. This is just a brief. Okay. And you have any doubts in all these 4 models? or you are clear? Hmm? Any doubts? You have any doubts? Please unmute and say if you don't have any doubts, say no. So, okay, fine. No one is saying no and no one is unmuting. Fine. And next, we are going for the software testing and their levels. Software testing and their levels. So I will just give a brief today as we have 6 minutes left. So software testing and this level means, so there will be a static and dynamic testings. So there will be two types. A is static testing and the B is dynamic testing. So in this static testing, there will be a reviews and walkthroughs. Okay, so first thing is reviews. Reviews, and the second thing is walkthroughs. So in this reviews and walkthroughs, so reviews means examining something, examining a project or uh, a code or something that related to some kind of work. So these the reviews like we are reviewing a code, we are reviewing some kind of document, and uh, reviewing some kind of technical things and reviewing all the software part and all part. Those things will be carried out here in the reviews. So I'll mention that too. Okay, reviews like manage reviews, some kind of technical reviews, some kind of code reviews, formal reviews, informal reviews. So these are the some kind of reviews. Okay, so walkthroughs means whatever the reviews are done. So a step-by-step review is conducted by the experts. We call it as a walkthroughs here. So dynamic testings. I will explain this. So dynamic testing in the sense whatever the testings that going to happen, like unit testing, integration testing, system testing, unit user acceptance testing, like whatever the white box, black box, and gray box testings are there. So white box testing, black box testing, and gray box testing. So dynamic testing senses white box, black box, and gray box. As you have a small idea on white box, like white box testings are done using some code kind of code things. So it will be done internally. So the code is needed in the white box testing. Black box testing in the sense there will be no interaction between the code and things. So black box testing can be done by the manual testers. White box testing will be done from the developers. So gray box testing is a combination of both manual and sorry, it's combination of the both white box and the black box testing. So we will discuss about this tomorrow. So what is static and what is dynamic testings in detail. So you have any doubts in these all models?
No, no doubts. No doubts. No doubts.
Okay, so these models in the live projects you may not be used much. Mostly you will use the agile model. So apart from this agile model, these all three things you may not be used much in the live projects. But in point of interview, they will ask like, what are the incremental models? What are the prototype models? So what if what does the prototype model does? And what are the advantages and the disadvantages of the prototype models? So that kind of questions you may see in the interviews. So these are also very important for the interview process. And tomorrow we will discuss about this software testings and levels. So there will be a huge terminology case in the tomorrow's session. Okay. And I will upload this video as soon as possible. You can get it from YouTube. And any questions from the day one, all the points till now? No, no. So I'll find out. So if you have any questions, just put on your notes or something. You can ask me while the session is going on. Okay. Or else you can put on the WhatsApp group.
Okay.